So hi, my name is April Lee. They're on Hope, Faith, and Thriving. I'm here with Morgan. She's also known as Morgan Talks. If you find her on YouTube, Instagram, probably TikTok and all that, is it Morgan Talks on all of those?
Yes. Well, Instagram is at Morgan Yanko, YA, and is the Nancy KO, but everything else is Morgan Talks.
Okay, awesome. So what I'm going to do is at the end of this, when you see the recording, it'll have all of her links, all of her information, so you can find her on these platforms. And then if you're watching this, you'll see a video. Eventually, I will have a podcast version and you'll have just all the audio of this whole thing. So I'm going to introduce her. I found her on YouTube originally because I deal with chronic illness. I was Googling fibromyalgia and Mayo Clinic of all things, and a video of her popped up, and it was her talking about her Mayo Clinic experience and getting diagnosed with, is it dysautonomia? Dysautonomia,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, and
And
central
post-viral fatigue and all
sensitization.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
central sensitization. Oh, sorry,
Yes.
central sensitization.
Got
And
it.
it basically is just a big umbrella for chronic fatigue. Well, it's actually post-viral fatigue syndrome.
Okay.
That's what started this for me.
Okay.
And
So it
then
started
it
from illness.
manifested into fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, chronic
Yes.
all of that.
Like
Yeah.
an endless train. So that's how I found you. That's how I found her. And I watched her video, and then it led me to another video of her. I didn't even know she did skin. So she does skin. Like, she's loves luxury skincare. And if you want to know about skin, go to her. It's like amazing skin tutorial. She has the best skin ever if you look up close. She glows, and the stuff that she shows is so detailed and so honest. Great reviews. It's not all like sponsored or anything. It's just her love for skin, her love for the beauty of the skin and the health of the skin, and it's like incredible. So I found her through that. But then what really got me intrigued with her is a video that she did on dealing with what life is like with chronic illness and with all that she's dealing with, doctor's appointments and people not believing you, leaving your career, like your marriage, all this stuff. And then another video that I found after that, before I even knew about the skin, is it was a video on, I don't know what you titled it, but it was chronic illness in a marriage or something like that. And I don't even, do you remember doing that?
I remember doing the video. I just don't remember like the specifics anymore. I've
Okay.
done so many videos, but I'm sure I still have the same thought process.
Okay. So with that, I'm not going to go into detail, but when I saw that video, I was having personally a really hard time. And I'm like, I got to go to counseling or something, because you have these invisible illnesses. Nobody can see them. Your spouse has been with you this long, and he's like, they can't see it. It's like, you cannot, bring it to life in front of them. It's like an imaginary friend. And so when I saw that video, it really helped me understand, like, oh, he's affected too. And like, what, my attitude and my, being a woman and like all these things are important, just as well as me trying to, get better and beat this, whatever. So that's what really led me to you. And then I started watching like all your beauty stuff. And then I found you on Instagram, and you're just so adorable and beautiful. And your attitude is like freaking awesome, especially for like dealing with all this stuff. And I don't know, I just feel like the world needs to know who you are. And I could see you on TV for real. I don't know, just your attitude and your personality and just everything about you. Like, God made you amazing.
Oh my
Seriously,
gosh.
seriously. You like shine to me. You really do. I could cry. Like when I see you on Instagram, you're like, you just are so perky and so sweet. And even when you're like so raw and so like, fighting for your health and people that other people who deal with it, and just being really raw, like even in like an attitude of like, standing up for yourself, you're so like dignified too. It's just, you really touch me.
You are,
So I want you to
I'm
share.
blown away. I'm blown away right now. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And right now she's got a migraine, and you can't see it because she's glowing by a window. But she's got the lights on a little bit, because that's just how life is for people like this. So yeah, I want you to share whatever you want. I'm going to kind of open it up, but I do want to touch on, I know that you show dogs. I don't know what you call it. I want to get that right, but that is so fascinating to me. It's so interesting. And I know you love animals, and you have like not a farm, but you got a lot of land and stuff, and you enjoy all that. And you can start wherever you want. If you want to kind of incorporate not just what you do now, but like if you want to even start with illness
The
and how it
beginning.
affected stuff and your career and what's changed, however you want to go.
Okay. I mean, I have no problem going from the beginning
Okay.
because the beginning is just so, it was just so chaotic in my life. It changed my life.
Yeah.
So, it was December. It was December. I was 29 years old and I got a cough one day, just like a normal cough, which snowballed into what I thought was the flu. And it was, I was going to the doctors and then they diagnosed me with respiratory syncytial virus, RSV virus,
Okay.
that children get.
Yeah.
And the doctors were like, you just kind of have to fight it out. You're going to be okay. It's just RSV. But I wasn't fighting it. I mean, I was completely bedridden. It was the sickest I've ever been in my entire life. Um, just, I can't even describe it. It was honestly torture. And the first time I went to the doctor, they just said, it's a virus. It's got to work its course. Then by week number 2 and of like really intense sickness, my mom was getting worried about me. My whole family was getting worried about me because I was just so violently ill. The doctor just kept putting me off. You're young. You're going to fight it. You're fine. Just go. I'll give you another week off of work. Just go lay down.
Wow.
So by week 3 of just being like violently ill, my mother took me to the doctor. And at that point, I was so just like emaciated and like just gaunt and sick. I just had nothing left in me. He finally said, I'm going to admit you to the hospital,
Mhm.
and like thank God, because my mother was so scared and like everybody, it was just a severe illness. It hit me really hard.
Mhm.
Um, and I found that, it was a child virus, so it was like an adult getting chicken pox,
Okay. So it's
like
kind of severe. It's like weird.
very severe. So I got admitted to the hospital. And they just put me on a bunch of fluids and all these specialists came in, did a bunch of tests. Everything came back negative other than this RSV.
Hmm.
So they gave me a bunch of liquids. I was admitted for, I was it 2 days, 3 days? They were just monitoring me. And when I got out, I felt stronger. And of course, he gave me like another week off of work.
Hmm.
And my cold symptoms went away, like the coughing and the sneezing and the ears, like
Hmm.
everything. But what remained was just this deep fatigue and confusion. And like, I just remember being super nauseous. And like, when the doctor would have me go back in for a follow up, he would say, like, this virus is out of your system now. It's time for you to go back to work. You have to get up, you have to get moving, you got to go. All this bed laying might be affecting you.
Okay.
It's-
No, we'll keep going. I have a decent amount on here, and if we get to a point where we need to continue, we'll hit pause and we'll continue. We might make one whole video or break it up. Just depends on where it's going. No rush.
because it's just such a wild story that
No, I mean, I'm like
post,
intrigued.
yeah,
And it'll
postviral
help
fatigue
somebody
syndrome,
for sure. A lot of people.
es-
So
especially with, the big virus that I don't know if I'm allowed to say it
yeah, the
without getting
C1, yeah.
demonetized. But no, it's
Yeah.
important because now it's being brought to light and a lot more people are experiencing long haul symptoms, which
Yes.
can turn into what I have.
Uh-huh.
So I was trying to tell my doctor, I'm not getting better. I'm more nauseous than ever. Thought he was like, go take a pregnant. This is just an example of how
Okay.
doctors don't believe you. They're like, well, you need to take a pregnancy test. And then I was like, not pregnant, of course. And just so much blood work. I was like a pincushion. And then he finally forced me to go back to work. He's like, you need to try to go back. So I remember going back, and I think in like I'd have to keep leaving early because I had I would just get so tired and
Mhm.
out of it. And I would get really confused and dazed and a lot of brain fog, a lot. And it was just so severe. The one day, finally, the HR department called me in and said, listen, we're not comfortable having you work in this condition. It's really, it's bad. Like,
Mhm.
it was really sad. And I just remember being so out of it that my mom took me to the doctor. He said I relapsed.
He said you relapsed. That was his thing.
Yeah,
Kind of like, oh, your virus is kind of still stirring in his
yeah,
mind. Okay.
yeah. I was still maybe there. So then a week would go by. I'm not getting better. Another week would go by. Um, I then started getting migraines, like
Mhm.
severe, and it just
Mhm.
started snowballing. Just like by the week, my whole body just started changing. And I couldn't even leave the house. I was so disabled. Like I couldn't get out of bed. I was really disabled. I couldn't do anything. Like I could barely even make myself food. I couldn't
Mhm.
even shower. I'd keep having these crashes and stroke-like symptoms
Mhm.
that would scare me. My husband would rush me to the ER, and it was just how severe the migraines were. So I just started getting on all kinds of migraine medication, and then the body ache started coming. Like my body was still sick. It's like you're never fully rested. Your body's
Mhm.
never fully rested. And
Mhm.
um you start declining, like your body can't take it anymore.
I know.
So it was just so bad. No doctor was really, everybody was too scared to diagnose a 29-year-old, otherwise healthy girl with post-viral fatigue syndrome with fibromyalgia features. So that's when I called
Mayo?
Florida.
Oh, did you call Mayo Clinic?
Yeah,
Oh, you did.
that's
Okay. So that's when all right.
because my doctors, I mean, they were sending me for different opinions, and oh, they didn't want to believe me, or they believed there was something wrong with me.
Uh-huh.
They just couldn't figure it out, and they weren't knowledgeable enough, and they couldn't
Mhm.
believe that post-viral fatigue syndrome was actually happening.
Yeah,
It
and I
was,
think too, because for you it happened so quick. And I noticed like, see, I got to the doctor much later. I go to the, oh my toe, oh my eye, oh my this, oh my have a surgery, have another one, and it happened like kind of over time and accumulated. But for you, it was like you got sick, then you never really got better. So they're kind of like, well, let's wait a little longer because usually they're like, well, a minimum of 3 months and 6 months and whatever. So in their head, they're probably like, well, she's probably going to get better. Let me just treat these symptoms. And then you never did. So then you went to Mayo Clinic and that's where you got diagnosed with all that.
yeah,
Okay. And your experience
they
there,
put
like,
the stamp on it.
okay. So if
They,
anybody was like, because for me personally, when I went there, it was like, it was almost like having like a meeting with God. I'm like, what do I got? Okay. Like they took their time to listen and care. They knew everything about me. They're like, okay, we know all that. I mean, it was like insane. Like it's your dream come true. Like there's a show called House, like back in the day. And when I got so sick, I was like, was that a real show? Is that a real, like in my head, I'm like, I need that. And that is what, for me personally, that is what it was like. So if anybody is like drawn to this video because of Mayo Clinic, my personal experience was it's so worth it, even though they really couldn't do much for me after. Getting the diagnosis is so important. So you know what the heck to do because I'd still be in my bed with like my hair dirty because I couldn't shower. Um, you know what I mean? So your experience, how was that for you? Do you feel like it was like crucial for you, like, and it helped you going there?
oh yeah, oh
Okay.
yeah, they knew exactly what was going on. Like the first appointment that I had, she was like, you have something called central sensitization. And
Yeah.
then she showed me like this cycle of how it's all like tied into fibro and post-viral fatigue, and then uh, irritable bowel syndrome, all of that. And then they just started sending me for a ton of tests because like
Mhm.
what Mayo Clinic could get done in a week would take you months at a regular
Years.
hospital.
Years. Yeah.
Years. They got me
Years.
done in a week. And
Yeah.
basically all they do is just send you for every test under the sun to exclude because it's by exclusion.
Mhm.
And then and then my last appointment after all my testing was done with a psychologist
Mhm.
who then had to psychologically clear you
Yeah.
that you actually have fibro. This isn't like made up Munchausen syndrome type.
Yeah.
So once I got that diagnosis and I took that home, and every time a doctor would try to write me off, I literally had a printout and I would just show him the proof.
Yeah.
Like, don't send me home. I actually need help. It's
Mhm.
bad. And then they listened to me because they had me going to therapists. The best thing you can do when you're starting out with this, honestly, I just want to say this, is
Mhm.
get a good therapist.
Oh yeah.
No joke.
It's once you because what happened with me, she told me what I had, and I remember I drove home because my mother-in-law was watching my kids, and I sat down. She's like, "So what do you have?" And I like, I just sat there. I'm like, fibromyalgia. And I kind of thought I had it and all those other things with it because it's the umbrella. So the central, all that. I mean, we have a lot in common with our symptoms and the migraines. It's terrible. It's like, it's almost like this package of things you carry home with you. And I didn't really realize what I had. You know, I had the title and I had the diagnosis. I'm like, and she tells me, you know, you're going to go home, you're going to you know, she told me personally, you need to go to your doctor and they're going to put you probably on Cymbalta and this, that, whatever. And then, you know, you go on your merry way, you do this 2-day course, you mentally learn how to da, 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 da. And I'm like, I'm not going to mentally learn how to do any darn thing because it's not in my mind. I physically feel this. So it's like telling me like, my arm isn't gone when my arm is gone. So I'm not dissing that because some people need that, but I was like, I don't think so. So when I left, I was like, you know, had an attitude, but I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really realize, honestly, what fibromyalgia was. It took me about 2 weeks because I went home and did life like normal. And then all of a sudden, I was shortness of breath, and I realized the shortness of breath and the slow movement and all, it was my body totally draining. And then I couldn't talk. I slurred speech, couldn't process a word because you're so physically drained. You have no energy. It is like
It's
running a
a
marathon,
mix.
climbing a mountain. And then all of a sudden, all the pain, because I didn't have as much pain when I first got diagnosed. I had more all the other neurological weird things, blurry vision, double vision, losing my
And
sight.
that's no joke, the
Huh?
neurological symptoms. And let
Oh
me tell you
no,
something.
it's terrible.
It's embarrassing too for me because I don't understand stuff and I forget words, and when I'm trying to speak to, like, it's embarrassing. But the thing with my therapist, and I just want to say this, is I was seeing him prior to getting sick.
Okay.
So when my PCP was like, I think you need to go talk to a psychologist, I said, okay, I'll just go, to Bill,
Yeah.
and I sat down, and he hadn't seen me in a couple months, so he wasn't up to speed. And he saw the condition I was in, and I just explained, listen, they're trying to make me have
Like a psych.
a professional. And he just looked at me and he's just like, Morgan, I believe you. What do you want me to write? Because I was so unlike myself, and
Mhm.
I never recovered. I have the energy to like do this and everything, but as far as physical activity and,
I
and the
know.
things that I can do, that is just gone. My life changed as I knew it
Yeah.
from December 3rd on.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. Yeah, I just
No, you're totally right. And and the thing is too, because people will see us, the people who know you well and you know who really truly believe you no matter what, and you know how much they love you when they don't even question. Like my husband, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, they see me and they know, but like if you look on me, oh, her hair's done, her makeup, like I was having a lot of anxiety because I've been so off the past couple of days. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. And I'm like, I'm going to commit, I'm going to do it. But I had to, I did a few things today. I rested before. I'm going to do this. I'm probably going to crash. I don't know. It's very unpredictable. You never know what you're going to be. You might be go, go, go one day, and the next like 3 days you can't move. And the pacing method that I'm sure you do is so key. And that's why because before I would go and I'm like, wow, April, I go to work, you look great. And then 3 days later, I couldn't work for 3 weeks. So now I work real part-time, and I work one day,
that's
I
lucky.
recover for 3, and then I slowly, and I got 2 kids and my husband, all this stuff. So I have to like, and I'm like one of those recluse. I feel like a spider that's like, I just
Yeah,
stay in my
I
little
get it.
den. And because like if you ask me to go see someone, I don't have generalized anxiety, but I was like, I don't know how I'm going to feel like when I go out and I hear the noises and I see the lights and I
Oh my
have to
God, the
prepare.
noises.
And the thing is for me too, it's because it's something called, and I think it's the root. I'm going to talk about that later on something else. The root of what is stirring up all this, it's called MCAS, so mast cell activation syndrome. And so for me, the smells, like if somebody walks by me smelling like weed or a cigarette or Bath and Body Works, I'm instantly sick. Like I feel like I'm sick. My head hurts. I feel sick. I gotta run. Like if they're at the register, I'm like, I gotta gather my food. I can't have you check me out. Like it's really awful. The sensory thing
Wow.
is horrendous and it triggers so much gross illness in me and vertigo and all that. And so when I look totally fine and you look fine, but I know, and I've seen, and I think it's so good to show video, like I'll be on here and then next thing you know, I got like raccoon eyes and I look like I'm dying. And I have to show those moments because it makes it real for these other people. You don't feel like you're insane because when you're going from, oh, wow, I'm better because you don't really understand in the beginning. And then you go
And
do
then you
stuff
go,
and then you're really sick. And I couldn't walk from a chair to a couch. Took me half an hour to go like 4 feet. And everybody's looking at me like, what in the world? And I don't know either. And so you have to learn. And if you're on here and you're hearing
accept.
any of this, like it's real. You're not crazy. If you can like clean your whole house one day and then suddenly now you can't even process a thought, your speech is slurred, you got pins and needles, a migraine, blurry vision. I mean, it is so crazy. When we go to a doctor, even the doctors are kind of like, wow, like it's eye-opening. It really is. It's insane. It's the most complicated, crazy thing I could ever imagine. And it's
I
difficult.
just, it's, yeah. Um, it's hard because like, I just sometimes like I close my eyes and I just wish I can just like leave my body and go into a different body. Like I
Yeah.
was up on the restless leg syndrome. I pulled an all-nighter. Like I slept for like 2 hours and then I with restless leg syndrome all night. I don't even know how I'm awake right now, but here I am. But it's it's like you're not crazy and you know your struggle. Like I know my struggle. I know what the heck goes on in my life. And if you don't believe me, that's just a write-off. Like if people don't believe you or support you, like you really do have to write them off because without proper support, you're never going to survive. And if you have like naysayers, like questioning every move you do and like looking at you sideways, you gotta leave, like you gotta just create healthy boundaries and you also have to accept what's wrong with you because
That's
a big
hard
thing at
too.
the beginning of these,
Mhm.
like I just felt like the way I would describe it to a doctor is I just kind of feel like I get up running, hit a wall, fall
Yeah.
down, get up running, and that was just going on and for where I just wasn't accepting that I
Hmm.
was actually sick. Like I was
Yeah.
like, no, like I'm going back to work, like this is fine, like I'm calling my friend, I want to go out, and then I would be in, my
Yeah.
friend would drive me home,
Yeah.
like it was like that. It was
Yeah.
just scary, scary, scary. Yeah. It's
It's
scary
hard.
getting diagnosed. It is.
And then in the beginning, everyone gets to the point because when they first told me, I was fought for 6 months, I fought it. I'm like, no, 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 no,
Yep.
no. I'm gonna
Like you're,
be the
yeah.
worst girl in the world to not to find the cure and all this stuff. And then you realize like I actually I'm like, I think I need to speak to someone. Like I really did. And I can handle a lot. And I've been to therapy before for other things. And I'm like, I can do this. And I could not. I'm like, and actually what's so crazy, when I got my therapist, my first visit was on video. And she says, why are you here? And I told her about fibromyalgia. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I thought I was going to fight it, but now I don't know how to live with it. I don't know what I'm just kind of one day I'm just sitting in my living room and it hit me and I just cried and cried and cried and sobbed. And I'm like, oh my God, I have this. Like, I can't get rid of it. And it's hard. And she's like, number one, did they tell you I have fibromyalgia? So this lady had fibromyalgia for 25 years. So we bonded there and then it was just crazy. And she really helped me a lot. I went to her like 5 times and then I brought my husband in a couple of visits and that really was eye-opening for him and stuff. And it's been fine. And I check in every once in a while, but, what she did is
That's
she's like,
important.
you're mourning. What?
I'm just saying that's important, bringing your
Oh,
spouse into the appointments with you.
oh yeah.
My husband and I were fighting so much because I wouldn't want him touching me. Like we went from cuddling to
Oh,
like, don't even come near me. I'm so uncomfortable. And he thought I was like being,
they don't know what to do either. They're like, I don't want to hurt. Like my husband walked in, he's like, I want to hug you, but like, I don't want to hurt you. He's like,
he was
you know,
taking it wrong.
yeah, you know.
But mine was taking it wrong because,
Oh,
and then
mine too.
finally,
Yeah.
the one night, this is when it came to a head. He was trying to like snuggle me and I could not sleep. I was tossing and turning all night and I just took my elbow and I just went like this, like get ah! And he was like so pissed that I did that to him. And then the next day was the Mayo Clinic appointment and they said, does she do erratic things? That, you know, people, I know fibromyalgia, people don't like to be touched and stuff. And then it was like the biggest eye opener for him
Yeah.
as a partner. And it honestly helped my marriage. Like that appointment probably saved my marriage.
Yeah.
Not even kidding.
Yeah.
Because you
Because
don't know what's wrong with you.
they need an outsider to kind of, it's not that they don't believe you, they just can't see it. And when you can't
Yeah.
see it, it's really hard. And you don't
Yeah.
really look much different minus your pain and the pain face that you try to hide, you know, and like right now you don't look like you have a migraine, but I know you do because you told me, you know what I mean? And so
Mhm.
hide it easily. We're not just like, oh, you know, time, you know what I mean? So yeah, that was crucial is that, but what I want to touch on is like the mourning, and that's what it's like you're grieving who you were. And until you do that, you don't accept. It's like impossible to accept what you have until number one, I got to the point where I'm like, oh, after 6 months, I'm like, I have this. It's not going away. And then once I did that, I literally like I was so depressed for 2 days. Like I couldn't like do anything. I'm like, I could barely do, I was like a zombie. And then I'm like, I think I need to talk to somebody. And so when I talked to the lady, she's like, you're grieving. I'm like, oh. And so she helped me through that. And she's like, the fact that you are even open to this and whatever. And she helped me get through it and helped me accept it. We went over a lot of the health stuff. And so for you personally, and this wasn't one of the questions that were on here, but do you feel like, how long has it been like for you? Like four
It's been a
years,
couple of years.
like
Yeah.
about three,
Well, I'm 34. Yeah. So
three or so. Do you
three
feel
or
like
four. Yeah.
you're finally like, because you know, you had your life, like you feel like you almost had like a new beginning and you're kind of getting used to this new life?
Yeah.
Like settling in and kind of like maybe, you know, obviously you want to improve and all that, but do you feel kind of like you're in a phase where you've accepted and you have like, I guess like you can deal with it. Like you have it, and
Yeah.
if it doesn't go away, am I good? If it and I still have this drive to like help, you know, like to improve it and the hope there. Like where are you at personally? If you feel
I,
like that.
I haven't gotten better. I've just gotten more accustomed to like
Yeah.
being constantly sick and being constantly in pain. Like my pain tolerance is just, like a migraine for me is like, it's just normal at this point. So I think I'm adjusting in that department of just like accepting and trying to live with what I got. That's basically where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
I've plateaued. I haven't gotten worse and I haven't gotten better. My medications are a big issue because, I'm at the age of like, I don't know what to do about kids because I don't have any kids
Mm-hmm.
yet. So that's something that's been weighing heavy on me because I don't know how I'm gonna make it work. So that's my big thing right now.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to find out what life is gonna look like for me moving forward. Like I have no idea what's in store for me, really.
Okay. Yeah, me neither. So I thought like, you know, sharing that is important for people listening because, you know, we're both a couple of years in kind of around the same time. I mean, for me, it was like the very tail end of 2019 going into like all the other, you know, stuff we've been dealing with. So, I'm kind of there, you know, too. And obviously, like my whole thing has been like, I'm going to find the source, you know, because I'll find
Hmm.
the root, I can yank it out and get better, you know. But even me finding even what some of my doctors believe to be the source, I've been treating it for like 3 months and I still have fibromyalgia. You know what I mean? Like it's like, man,
Yeah.
girl, if I call it a girl, it's like you're just a persistent doggone thing. Like
Like, look,
you're not
like
leaving.
I've tried diets. I've
Yeah.
tried, twice I tried exercising. What is it? Physical therapy.
Oh yeah.
I've tried both physical, like, and I've tried aqua. Aqua therapy was honestly the most encouraging exercise I've done in the past like 4 years.
It's so easy on the body and it feels good and
If it's warm, like the water's
yeah.
warm and everything, that was the only thing that can actually get me somewhat fit. But nothing works. Nothing works. And I'm just like disgusted. And I just want to move on with my life
I
and
know.
just, I don't know what else to even do at this point. I've done it all, you know?
I know. I know I'm even on I started something called Zeolite and it's like this metal detox powder that's something I found, because obviously heavy
Okay.
metals, I don't even know if that, I mean, I'm the kind of person I'm open to anything. Like obviously I've done all the stupid things like yoga and greens and
Yeah, it's
gluten-free,
not,
dairy-free,
yeah. I
all this,
can't,
what I call the simple things, all the medicines, all the trials, all things. But like when random things come up like this, I'm like, oh, well, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to pull some metals out of your body and metals attract, toxins and things and whatever. It's like you can only feel better with less metal in your body. So I try that, but I'm like, there, obviously if someone had the answer, they'd be like a billionaire and they would be selling
yeah,
this potion to all, and so it really does make me realize too, like how even though all of our conditions are so like really like, oh, me too, me too, me too, it's still such an individual thing. At the same time, it's weird. It's like, well, you're a girl and I'm a girl. Well, we're all different. You know what I mean? It's like you
right.
can't compare. You just can't. You can't do. And sometimes doctors try to do that. Sometimes friends try. Oh, well, she works 58 hours a week and she
Yeah,
runs a marathon. And then you got Betty Jane. Well,
you're
she's
right.
thin as a rail, but you're big as a house. It's like you can't. You just can't. You cannot.
Yeah,
So if you're out there trying to compare yourself, just stop doing it. It's individual to you. There's I mean, the only thing I can think of is like I take LDN. I think you said you try that or you take that. Do you take
what,
that? Low
LDN?
dose naltrexone?
No, I don't take that
No.
one.
Okay. Well, like for me, it works for me. It helps me a lot. I mean, it's not cured me, of course, but it helps me a lot. And some people, Cymbalta helps them. I mean, it made me crippled. I was crippled like tremendously much worse than I was I don't know why.
Mhm.
And we're all so different. So like the doctors have to start seeing like it's individual and we have to realize that too, because if we're like, well, I'm taking all the medicines they say and I'm doing all the stuff they said and then this girl over here is eating salads and doing yoga, hot yoga, and she's fine. Like, why am I, and you blame yourself. You're like, well, I'm not doing it right. There's really no right. There's no wrong. It's just finding what works. And, the same for you, like finding what medicine works and finding what, pacing method for you. And in being slow, it's really hard when you're younger, like to slow down. You're like, dang, I don't want to do that, and so like the go, stop, go is really hard to stop. It really is. And then once you realize if you pace and slow down, it's so hard in the beginning, but then once you start doing it and you realize it's kind of more steady. And then you sometimes they'll still crash for 2 weeks. You're like, I thought I had it down. It's like it is, I swear, if you're out there in the medical field, please just watch us because you're going to learn so much from people like us dealing with this stuff because the 15 minutes they have, they're kind of like, they're
They
either
just have
like,
like,
oh, what an idiot you are, or like, man, I don't want to be you.
they
It's
just,
like,
yeah, they just think they have the answers. Like they think, like some people are cocky about it and they just think like, whoa, with really minimal slow exercise you're going to eventually work your way up and then you're going to
yeah,
reverse your brain and then you're going to this and then you're going to that, and like you believe them and you get hopeful like, yeah, I'm going to do that,
yeah,
I'm definitely going to do that, and then it doesn't work and then you're sore every single day, you
oh
have like
yeah,
no life because you're trying to maintain a physical therapy schedule and they push you too, they're like
oh yeah.
little,
It's like a
I
mini, it's
did
a
not.
workout. It's
Yeah, so
it's a
it's
workout.
just frustrating. Like it's frustrating, but I'm to the point where it's like, look, just give me my skincare. I could take my dogs,
Yeah.
hopefully get on vacation, God willing. And like that's just what I'm doing. Like I'm just trying to move forward. I'm just trying to move forward.
Yeah. And so before we go, if you want to say anything about the dog showing that you do, or like what ever you would want people to come to see on your platforms, like why would they go there? Or what do you want to do for them? Or,
Oh, skincare,
skincare.
skincare advice, fashion advice, having a good time, doing vlogs. My dog showing it's a labor of love. It's a lot. Um, Dog showing's been hard on me because it's something I've always wanted to do,
Mhm.
but it's very strenuous on your body. And
Yeah.
I think I irritate dog show people because they don't understand my exact limitations, and um they they just don't get it. Like I'll go the wrong way in the ring, like in the dog ring. Like I screw up a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just can't it's hard for me to keep up at their pace. Like I can't travel like them. They all like drive to Florida like twice. They're like in Nashville, Tennessee, then they're here, then they're
Oh
in New
my
York. Like
gosh.
they drive everywhere. And they're like, why can't you like meet us here? Like come to West Virginia. And I'm like, I can't. And then they get confused because then they go on my YouTube channel and they see me all like bright eyed and bushy tailed with my
Yeah.
skincare. And then they think they don't like, I don't know if they don't believe me or they don't like
They don't get
get
it.
it.
They're like,
And
wait. Yeah.
that's something that I should probably cool on is all the dog showing, but I like it so much that I don't want to, but it's
Mhm.
honestly, it's not in my best interest, but I still like it because it makes me feel like I accomplished something other than just
Mhm.
lay around all day.
Yeah. And it's like when I see you do that, like you light up, like it's so joyful to you and it's fun and you love your dogs. I mean, how many dogs do you have?
I have two. I have Legend, who is my labor of love. He's my show dog that I take in that ring. And then I have my little Pixie, who's like my little pug. She's like my everything. So
Your little
she's
baby.
everything. Yeah, I love
Okay.
her.
And okay, so the skincare is on your YouTube. I'll put links to all that. And then on your Instagram, it's mostly like it's fashion, and I notice fashion and skincare and like kind of everything about you
Like
and dog
lifestyle.
grooming and all
Yeah.
that and your lifestyle and everything. And then are you on TikTok as well?
I have a TikTok. I'm not that active. Honestly, the platform that I love the most is YouTube. Like I love YouTube. If you want to subscribe to my YouTube
Yeah.
channel, Morgan Talks, I would love that. I'd love that.
Yeah, I really like that a lot too. And what I like about your Instagram as well is that it's almost like it's like the YouTube is one-on-one, but then it feels like with the Instagram sometimes it feels like you're like in the moment with the person too. So
Oh
I
yeah.
like both. So if you're gonna follow her, I do both. And then you kind
Thank
of
you.
get a little bit of everything. And then you can also, communicate with that too, like, comment or whatever. Um,
Yeah, you could like get to know me on a more personal level through Instagram, but YouTube is
yeah.
good too, but you could be more live with me on Instagram.
Yeah. And the YouTube's awesome because now on there you do mostly skincare. And then sometimes you just get real with, I mean, not that you're not real, but you get real with life and stuff like that, which is great. Little things in there too. So, okay. Well, thank you so much for I'm not offering, letting me interview you. It's been amazing. And um I'm just glad we got to do this. I'm glad we touched on kind of the backstory of some things that you deal with because you'd never know. And what'll be great is for your current viewers to kind of see you, besides just the skincare, and then maybe find some new people that you can help with their skin. Even I like prepped my skin last night. I'm like, it's gotta look good.
Oh my
So you're very
God, look at me. I'm
motivating.
a mess.
You're very motivating. So, all
Oh,
right, we're
thank you.
gonna
And thank you
go.
so much for having me and wanting to get to know me and having me on I mean, this is really, really sweet. So thank you so
Yeah,
much.
it's been awesome. I can't wait to put it out. So we'll see you soon.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.